Welcome to a brand new episode of the Jampack Report today for September the 16th of 2019. Of course, for those that don't know, my name is Samuel Adams, and 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I bring you the hottest gaming news that you need to know right here on the Jampack Report, hosted on youtube.com/Samuel Adams Media and put up on podcast services around the world for those that do want an audio version of the show. But today, we've got some big news about Borderlands 3 because it looks like the game is doing very well on PC, according to Randy Pitchford. In fact, twice as many players are playing on PC as compared to the same time period during Borderlands 2. Then, Capcom has responded to fan outcry over Project Resistance's multiplayer routes. Now, I will say I'm part of the problem on this one because I checked out the gameplay, wasn't that impressed, made a video about it, etc., etc. Now we have the official response. However, it looks like Call of Duty Modern Warfare will get loot boxes according to a leak from the beta that shouldn't have been in there to begin with, and the only question is when. However, Discord, for those that don't know, is of course, chatting app for gamers and other people to kind of stay connected while they go about their days, is pulling free games from their Nitro subscription service. Then, a name you probably haven't heard in a while, Billy Mitchell, is threatening to take legal action against high-score sanctioning bodies. He's back, ladies and gents. Oh, he is back. And finally, to round out the show, we have the NPD reports for August, which look kind of quiet, but still some stuff worth talking about. And that's pretty much the lineup for today's show, but if you are brand new, I do hope you enjoy what I bring to the table. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. First off, Randy Pitchford says Borderlands 3 has twice as many players on PC as Borderlands 2 did, which is a lot. Borderlands 3 launched on September 13th, and I don't know about you, but my Twitter feed is full of people talking about it. People having opinions about a game doesn't necessarily translate into people playing it, but according to Gearbox CEO and part-time magician Randy Pitchford, the launch day peak concurrent players of Borderlands 3 is about twice as high as the all-time peak concurrent players of Borderlands 2. That is on PC, of course. According to Steam charts, Borderlands 2 peaked at 123,596 players when it launched 7 years ago, while SteamDB estimates 124,678 players. Double that would be somewhere in the 247 to 249,000 player range, which is a lot of people trying to figure out where the General Challenges menu is hidden and why pressing F doesn't activate boost in vehicles anymore. Pitchford followed up by saying best numbers in Gearbox history. No promises, but we might be ready for me to try a shift code test with the golden key system tomorrow, and if we do, it will probably be a limited time key. Of course, Borderlands 3, one of the biggest releases of the year, and to see this report, to see these numbers coming out on PC is something that isn't necessarily shocking, but they could be higher. I would estimate that since it is an Epic Game Store exclusive, these numbers could have been somewhere in the 300,000 concurrent player range if it had released on Steam. Now, times have shifted a good bit. More people are expecting a free-to-play game to do very large numbers, but considering this is a $60 game, we are still looking at 250,000 concurrent peak players being a pretty impressive figure. But although that does show Borderlands 3 is popular, I don't think it necessarily points to the quality of the game being the #1 factor in success here for BL3, because you have to take into consideration that Borderlands as an IP, as a name, has grown by leaps and bounds over the past 7 years because of reports that have come out, because of spin-off games that have come, such as the pre-sequel Tales from the Borderlands, and of course people returning to Borderlands and Borderlands 2 in the streaming space as well. Of course, it is a game that is basically meant to be streamed. The grind is strong with this one, and there has been a vibrant community that has kind of popped up around the Borderlands franchise on sites like Mixer and Twitch and YouTube. But with all that being said, Borderlands 3, although it is an Epic Game Store exclusive, appears to be doing very well. And I'm curious as to how the Steam release will go next year, because this is just a temporary Epic Game Store exclusive, so you could be seeing kind of a rebirth, if you will, in about 6 months' time whenever it does finally hit Steam, where you do have, yet again, reports coming in of 250,000 plus concurrent players jumping into Borderlands 3. But if you do want to dive into the game, of course, it is out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC as of right now, and I've heard nothing but good things about this one. Definitely worth diving in and giving a look. However, Something I haven't heard just good things about, Project Resistance, the brand new Resident Evil spin-off, and Capcom has responded to the fan outcry over the multiplayer roots of the brand new project. The response to Project Resistance, particularly from Resident Evil fans, has not been positive. Project Resistance was revealed at TGS as a 4v1 multiplayer Resident Evil spin-off. Although its aesthetic, monsters, and gameplay are based on RE2 Remake, many feel the game is not catering to Resident Evil's core audience. Add to that the fact that most multiplayer experiments in Resident Evil's long history have been unsuccessful, and fans are rightfully fearful of the fact that Capcom is wasting its time making something it doesn't fully understand. Capcom producer Mad Walker disagrees. While he acknowledged that some of the responses are based solely on first impressions and limited gameplay footage, Walker argues that Project Resistance is a survival horror game at its core, just in a different wrapper. It's a great survival horror experience, if non-traditional. I think we confuse things when we make things related to IP that don't actually stay true to the core spirit of the IP, but this project happily doesn't fall into that trap, Walker told followers on Twitter. I can't wait till the closed beta to have more people actually play it and see how it's a refreshing new take, but very surely survival horror at its core. People who have played it have been positive, and I hope during closed beta even more people will have fun playing it, he added in a follow-up tweet. Speaking of the beta, the Capcom producer indicated that the closed test will be a real beta, not a marketing demo. We are also earnestly trying to get feedback from people who have played it so we can actually make it better, which I feel is fairly rare from a publisher of our size, he revealed. More broadly, Walker explained that Capcom needs to continue branching out in order to offer new gameplay experiences, while at the same time refining what it already has. If we just continue to offer up the same thing over and over again, people will gradually lose interest with what we're making. Project Resistance offers up a really new, interesting way to do that, noted Walker in another tweet. And of course, the beta itself will be available from the 4th of October to the 7th of October on PC, PS4, and the Xbox One. Interesting statements here from one of the big heads at Capcom that's kind of telling, I would say, of this current state of Project Resistance. Now, to back up, to kind of backtrack a bit, whenever I saw the gameplay, I was excited. Whenever I saw the teaser, when the actual gameplay came out, I wasn't quite as excited because I'm getting very heavy Operation Raccoon City vibes from Project Resistance. It just feels strange. There's a lot of weird elements within the gameplay trailer that was shown off at TGS that just doesn't mesh with me very well. Now, I'm maintaining an open mind. I'm excited to see where the project goes, but I'm also tempering my expectations at this point. I do want to comment here. The second tweet that he sent out, this one right here, but very surely hurts survival horror at its core. People who have played it have been positive. Well, yes, you've invited very hardcore Resident Evil fans to play it in specific cities across the United States at very specific times. If they came and said that your game wasn't good, they would probably risk never being invited back again. Whenever you have a little group that you surround yourself with that will automatically say anything you make is gold, then you probably are going to get a pretty big head about your new game. I'm excited for the closed beta to see how the general public actually does react to the game itself, because I think it could be still a very divisive game, one that many people will say, hey, this isn't that good. But again, I am one that has not seen the game firsthand. I have not played the game, so I need to maintain an open-minded approach to the game itself. But I'm still going to maintain a solid level of excitement here because, again, I never would have thought that the Resident Evil franchise could return from what it was and become what it is today, because with Resident Evil 7, with Resident Evil 2 Remake, you see a return to form while also kind of a rebirth of an aged franchise. And I think that with this new experimentation, you could actually see something cool come of it. But if you do want to check out Project Resistance, a pretty lengthy gameplay trailer is up right now on YouTube.com. And of course, you can always find more and more as time goes on. Or again, you can dive into the closed beta October 4th through the 7th. However, you could be diving into the Call of Duty Modern Warfare beta, which was held over the weekend on PS4, and over the next few weekends, you've got more betas coming out across other platforms. But it looks like Call of Duty Modern Warfare will get loot boxes too. The only question is when. The Call of Duty Modern Warfare beta seems to have unintentionally confirmed a feature that many players are significantly less excited about than 20v20 battles and nocturnal skirmishes with night vision goggles, loot boxes. They aren't actually featured in the beta, which has only a limited selection of content from the full game's competitive multiplayer mode. But YouTuber Nero discovered a user interface element that confirms they exist in some capacity in Modern Warfare. The user interface element referring to loot boxes appeared in Nero's after action report. After they hit beta rank 6. Here is a still image of the screen. You can see loot box common supply drop appears in the unlocked section in the lower left, as you can see here if you're watching the video version of the show. This was likely an oversight since you can't actually earn loot boxes in the beta, plus games don't usually call them loot boxes anymore. When Treyarch added loot boxes to Black Ops 4 a few months after launch, they were called reserve crates. That's another thing, even though Call of Duty games have added more microtransaction options like loot boxes in recent years, they tend to wait a few months after launch to implement them. We have reached out to Activision for any comment on this apparent leak and will update the story with any response. But spotting the loot box unlock here could indicate that Modern Warfare will launch with them, or it could be an early confirmation that players can expect them to arrive in the game at some point as a post-launch update. Activision previously confirmed that Modern Warfare is eliminating the traditional season pass, adding maps and other post-launch content to the game for free. The company pursuing other business models to make up for that lost revenue is no surprise, but with the backlash against paid loot boxes in recent years, fans couldn't be blamed for hoping Call of Duty would at least leave those behind too. And so, we have what appears to be the confirmation that loot boxes are going to be in Modern Warfare, and to that I say, well, yeah. It's 2019. But I tweeted about this, and I said that for some reason, loot boxes in Modern Warfare 2019 feel more palatable because of the fact that there is no season pass. It doesn't feel like I'm getting ripped off whenever somebody comes and asks me for a couple of extra bucks if I want to give it to them to get a loot box, whenever I don't have to dish out $50 for a season pass to get the newest maps, new modes, new skins, whatever it might be. And so, whenever you are thinking about this, I would encourage you to understand the value that you're getting here with Modern Warfare, and the fact that loot boxes, you don't have to buy them. They're there if you want them, but you can always earn them in the game. And of course, many only contain cosmetics. That's likely the case with Modern Warfare. Again, nothing confirmed as of yet, but considering the backlash and the regulation that is coming into the industry because of loot boxes, I would say they're not going to risk too much within Modern Warfare. But again, if you do want to dive into the beta, it's happening right now. I believe today's is actually ending today, but then you have another one coming up next weekend, and of course the following weekend as well. And it won't be long until, of course, Modern Warfare launches on October the 25th. But the Season Pass being exempt from this year's kind of Call of Duty setup does make loot boxes a bit more palatable, like I said. But don't take advantage of me. Let's make it very clear. I'm still going to keep my eye on you, Activision. Still got it on you. But you know what's free? Some games on Discord, but not for long, because Discord is pulling free games from Nitro. The chat service pulls the feature from subscriptions offerings because vast majority of Nitro subscribers didn't play them. Discord announced that it's ending the free games component of its Nitro subscription service. The change was announced in a blog post that noted it was time for the company to make a decision on renewing annual contracts for the initial wave of games in the Nitro program. We learned a lot from all of you over the last year, the company said. Through your valuable feedback, it became clear that while we and some of you love these games, the truth is the vast majority of Nitro subscribers didn't play them. So after careful consideration, we won't be hitting the continue button when these contracts come up for renewal. The Nitro Games catalog will be removed on October the 15th, 2019. The gamer-focused chat service first rolled out the perk last year as part of its push into selling games. However, in March, it shut down its own storefront to have developers sell titles through their own Discord servers instead, with devs keeping 90% of the revenue for such sales. While Nitro subscription fees will remain the same after the free games are pulled, the company said it's been working on new features, like increasing the maximum upload size for users on the $10 subscription tier. And so to see the end of this little foray into the gaming, I suppose, supplying side of the industry, to see Discord getting away from giving people a way to play games is, I think, telling of where the industry is right now. There are so many storefronts on PC, an uncomfortable amount of storefronts, to the point that GOG is actually making a storefront that merges all the other storefronts together. It's ridiculous to see the amount of launchers, the amount of platforms, the amount of whatever you want to call them cropping up on the PC space. And so Discord, although it is a free chat app, does have their Nitro offering, and I do think this added a good bit of value to it, in the same way that PlayStation Plus's free games and those that are given away for free with Xbox Live Gold also add value to those services. But I don't necessarily need every service to give me free games, and often many of them, especially in the PC space, are repeats. You do get a couple of new freebies here and there, but overwhelmingly you can pretty much find a lot of these games overlapping each other. Of course, I'm interested to see where Discord goes into the future, because it's a company with a lot of movement behind it, a lot of investment behind it, and a ton of users. There are so many people that use Discord. In fact, it pretty much single-handedly killed Curse, or whatever you want to call the chat app that used to dominate the PC gaming space. But if you did enjoy the free games from Nitro, it looks like you won't be getting those anymore past October the 15th of 2019. But hey, Discord still has a ton of value, and of course, with them getting back into the communication side of things and focusing more on what they do well, hopefully that will free up room for even more experiments, or, to expand their current offering of communication tools. However, Billy Mitchell, you might remember him from a whole bunch of G4 specials back in the day, or maybe the King of Kong movie. But Billy Mitchell is threatening to take legal action against high-score sanctioning bodies. He wants his crown back. The one and only Billy Mitchell, best known for claiming high scores in arcade games like Donkey Kong and then being officially stripped of the records, is reportedly threatening to take legal action against the sanctioning bodies Twin Galaxies and Guinness World Records. Polygon reveals Mitchell's lawyers earlier this week sent a letter to both parties demanding they'll retract their claims against the King of Kong star and restore his scores to the world record leaderboards. This all stems from a 3-month investigation accusing Mitchell of using emulation to achieve his high scores, and resulted in his longtime rival Steve Wiebe being recognized as the first million-point record holder in Donkey Kong. The legal letter states Mitchell was defamed by Twin Galaxies in the findings and in the post on the organization's website. During this period, Twin Galaxies also wiped records that were reportedly not in question and banned Mitchell from competing in future leaderboards. One of these was a perfect score in Pac-Man. It's also mentioned how Twin Galaxies allegedly did not give Billy Mitchell a fair opportunity to provide evidence for or prove his innocence during this period, and Guinness never conducted an investigation into the Pac-Man records. This letter can be viewed over the Speedrun subreddit and comes attached with a 156-page package of materials defending him. Guinness and Twin Galaxies have been given 2 weeks to issue a retraction, or further legal action will be taken. Mitchell's attorneys also want Guinness to conduct its own separate investigation. Since losing his records, the King of Kong has gone to the extent of live streaming his million-point games, including one run he did in November of last year. And so, for those that don't know, Billy Mitchell lives and breathes in the, I would say even steeps like a tea bag in the world of nostalgia, and in this, I suppose, pinnacle of life where he did hit the Donkey Kong world record. He was the world record holder, and he had that taken away from him, and he's never quite been able to get over that. And to be fair, if I had a world record, I'd probably want to hold on to that as well. But to see these new allegations, to see these new threats from Billy Mitchell, he might actually have something here. I would love to dive into the 156-page package of materials defending him, but quite frankly, I don't care that much, and I really don't think too many other people do either. But of course, if you do want to dive into it, the Speedrun subreddit does have everything you could ever imagine when it comes to getting the lowdown on what's happening with Billy Mitchell. But of course, I do believe that in any kind of accusatory position, the research should be done. There should be someone looking into this, because, hey, if the man has the Pac-Man world record, or if he did at one point have the Pac-Man world record, then by all means, give that to him. If he did, in fact, have the Donkey Kong record and he was cheated out of that, give it back to him. You've got to do the right thing here. So I do believe that investigations should be done from both Twin Galaxies as well as Guinness World Records. But at the moment, Billy Mitchell has a lot to prove in the world of gaming still in 2019. However, he might be good at Pac-Man, might be good at Donkey Kong, but how is he at Madden NFL 20? And could he go up against those that have purchased the game? Because it looks like a lot of people have. And that's the segue into the final story of the day, the NPD reports for August of 2019. The last of the year's uneventful months of game releases, August has turned in predictable results at U.S. retail. The NPD Group has published its report for August covering retail sales of games, hardware, and accessories, and the report, as always, includes some digital data from select publishers. August revenue came in at $666 million, an 18% decline compared to last year, and unfortunately, all of the distinct categories tracked by the NPD saw a decline. Hardware, as it has done for most of the year, the Nintendo Switch is once again at the top-selling platform, continuing its lead this year. Hardware sales brought in just $167 million in August, a 22% drop as compared to the same period last year. The Switch does remain the best-selling platform of 2019, and as we've come to expect from the hybrid console, it's the only platform seeing any growth. Software sales amounted to $257 million in August, a decline of 22%. This revenue was so slow, in fact, the NPD pointed out, it's the lowest ever for the month of August since 1998. Unsurprisingly, Madden NFL 20 was the month's biggest hit in dollar sales and is now 2019's third bestseller. This is the 7th August in a row where Madden NFL was the top seller. At number 2 comes a surprise appearance by Minecraft, which is unprecedented. Outside of Madden NFL 20, the only other August release that ranked in the top 10 was Switch-exclusive Astral Chain, which landed at number 10. Speaking of Switch, 5 of the top 10 in August were all Switch exclusives. And of course, here's the full rundown of your top 10 games for August of 2019 from the NPD Group. Number 1, Madden NFL 20, 2, Minecraft, 3, GTA 5, 4, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, 5, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, 6, Super Mario Maker 2, 7, Mario Kart 8, 8, Mortal Kombat 11, 9, Rainbow Six Siege, and 10, Astral Chain. Now, of course, you've got pretty much the same reflected on other consoles. Of course, some exclusives scattered about for the NPD PS4 report, with GTA 5 being at number 3, followed by Spider-Man at number 4. You've also got Days Gone hanging in at number 8, MLB 19 The Show at number 9. And of course, the Xbox One is pretty much littered with the same stuff, except for the fact that Assassin's Creed Odyssey is at number 8. Overwatch makes the top 10. That one's shocking. I think that definitely goes to show how few exclusives the Xbox One actually has to offer. But September should be very much more so exciting because of stuff like Gears 5 coming out, on top of some other games that are totally worth mentioning. But again, looks like some slowing sales because of the beginning of a new console generation inching over the horizon as we speak. Sales always slow down towards the end of any console generation, nothing to be concerned about here. But I will say, August was an incredibly slow month. People are going on vacation, some are going back to school in the world. It's a weird time for gaming in general, and so these numbers kind of to be expected. But that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. Of course, if you are brand new to the show, I do hope you enjoy what I bring to the table, and if you do, consider clicking that subscribe button on YouTube or the podcast feed, or both, if you do want to stay up to date. But until tomorrow, you guys have a fantastic rest of the day. I will talk to you soon, and peace.